Here we go. Here. All right. So we're recording to the cloud, and we got the live going. All right, Mom.
Okay, chapter 45. This is what Yahuwah says to his anointed, to Cyrus, whose right hand I take hold of, to subdue nations before him, and to strip kings of their armor, to open doors before him, so that gates will not be shut. I will go before you and will level the mountains. I will break down gates of bronze and cut through bars of iron. I will give you the treasures of darkness, riches stored in secret places, so that you may know that I am Yahuwah, the Elohim of Yashrael, who calls you by name. For the sake of Yaakov, my servant, of Yashrael, my chosen, I call you by name and bestow on you a title of honor, though you do not acknowledge me. I am Yahuwah, and there is no other. Apart from me, there is no other mighty one. I will strengthen you, though you have not acknowledged me, so that from the rising of the sun to the place of its setting, men may know there is no other besides me. I am Yahuwah, and there is no other. I form the light and create darkness. I bring prosperity and create disaster. I, Yahuwah, do all these things. You heavens above, rain down righteousness. Let the clouds shower it down. Let the earth open wide. Let salvation spring up. Let righteousness grow with it. I, Yahuwah, have created it. Woe to him who quarrels with his maker, to him who is but a potsherd among the potsherd on the ground. Does the clay say to the potter, "Who are you? What are you making?" Does your work say he has no hands? Woe to him who says to his father, "What have you begotten?" Or to his mother, "What have you brought to birth?" This is what Yahuwah said, the set apart one of Yashrael and its maker, concerning things to come. Do you question me about my children, or give me orders about the work of my hands? It is I who made the earth and created mankind upon it. My own hand stretched out the heavens. I marshaled their starry hosts. I will raise up Cyrus in my righteousness. I will make all his ways straight. He will rebuild my city and set my exiles free, but not for a price or reward, says Yahuwah Almighty. This is what Yahuwah said. The products of Egypt and the merchandise of Cush and those tall Sabaeans, they will come over to you and will be yours. They will trudge behind you, coming over to you in shame. They will bow down before you and plead with you, saying, "Surely Yahuwah is with you, and there is no other. There is no other mighty one. Truly you are an Elohim who hides himself. O Yahuwah and Savior of Yashrael, all makers of idols will be put to shame and disgrace. They will go off into disgrace together. But Yashrael will be saved by Yahuwah with an everlasting salvation. You will never be put to shame or disgrace to ages everlasting. For this is what Yahuwah said. He who created the heavens, he is Elohim. He who fashioned and made the earth, he founded it. He did not create it to be empty, but formed it to be inhabited, he says. I am Yahuwah, and there is no other. I have not spoken in secret from somewhere in a land of darkness. I have not said to Jacob's descendants, "Seek me in vain." I, Yahuwah, speak the truth. I declare what is right. Gather together and come, assemble you fugitives from the nations. Ignorant are those who carry about idols of wood, who pray to mighty ones that cannot save. Declare what is to be, present it. Let them take counsel together. Who foretold this long ago? Who declared it from the distant past? Was it not I, Yahuwah? And there is no mighty one apart from me, a righteous Elohim and a Savior. There is none but me. Turn to me and be saved, all you ends of the earth. For I am Yahuwah, and there is no other. By myself I have sworn, my mouth has uttered in all integrity a word that will not be revoked. Before me every knee will bow, by every tongue will swear. By me every tongue will swear. They will say of me, in Yahuwah alone are righteousness and strength. All who have raged against him will come to him and be put to shame. But in Yahuwah all the descendants of Yashrael will be found righteous and will exalt. Chapter 46. Bel bows down, Nebo stoops low. Their idols are borne by beasts of burden. The images that are carried about are burdensome, a burden for the weary. They stoop and bow down together, unable to rescue the burden. They themselves go off into captivity. Listen to me, O house of Jacob, all you who remain of the house of Yashrael, you whom I have upheld
They had
and have carried since your birth, even to your old age and gray hairs. I am he. I am he who will sustain you. I have made you, and I will carry you. I will sustain you, and I will rescue you. To whom will you compare me, or count me equal? To whom will you liken me, that we may be compared? Some pour out gold from their bags, and wedge out silver on their scales. Weigh out silver on their scales. They hire a goldsmith to make it into a mighty one, and they bow down and worship it. They lift it to their shoulders and carry it. They set it up in its place, and there it stands. From that spot it cannot move. Though one cries out to it, it does not answer. It cannot save him from his troubles. Remember this. Fix it in mind. Take it to heart, you rebels. Remember the former things, those of long ago. I am Yahuwah, and there is no other. I am Yahuwah, and there is none like me. I make known the ends from the beginning, from ancient times which is still to come. I say, my purpose will stand, and I will do all that I please. From the east I summon a bird of prey, from a far-off land a man to fulfill my purpose. What I have said, that will I bring about. What I have planned, that will I do. Listen to me, you stubborn-hearted, you who are far from righteousness. I am bringing my righteousness near. It is not far away, and my salvation will not be delayed. I will grant salvation to Zion, my splendor to Yashrael. Chapter 47. Go down, sit in the dust, virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground without a throne, daughter of the Babylonians. No more will you be called tender or delicate. Take millstones and grind flour. Take off your veil. Lift up your skirts, bare your legs, and wade through the streams. Your nakedness will be exposed, and your shame uncovered. I will take vengeance. I will spare no one. Our Redeemer, Yahuwah Almighty, is his name, is the set-apart one of Yashrael. Sit in silence, go into darkness, daughter of the Babylonians. No more will you be called Queen of Kingdoms. I was angry with my people and desecrated my inheritance. I gave them into their hand and you showed them no mercy, even on the aged. You laid a very heavy yoke. You said, I will continue forever, the eternal queen. But you did not consider these things or reflect on what might happen. Now then, listen, you wanton creature, longing in your security and saying to yourself, I am, and there is none besides me. I will never be a widow or suffer the loss of children. Both of these will overtake you in a moment, on a single day, loss of children and widowdom. They will come upon you in full measure. In spite of your Marty sorceries and all your potent spells, you have trusted in your wickedness and have said, no one sees me. Your wisdom and knowledge mislead you. When you say to yourself, I am and there is none besides me, disaster will come upon you, and you will not know how to conjure its way. A calamity will fall upon you that you cannot ward off with a ransom. A catastrophe you cannot foresee will suddenly come upon you. Keep on them with your magic spells and with your many sorceries, which you have labored since childhood. Perhaps you will succeed. Perhaps you will cause terror. All the counsel you have received has only worn you out. Let your astrologers come forward, those stargazers who make predictions month by month. Let them save you from what is coming upon you. Surely they are like stubble. The fire will burn them up. They cannot even save you
Excuse me, brother.
from the power of the flame. Here are no coals to warm anyone. Here is no fire to
Doug?
consume for you. These you have labored with and trafficked with since childhood. Each of them goes on in his error. There is none
Moses,
who can save you.
I could barely hear her.
Can hear me because there's a lot of talking going on.
All right, hold on. Yeah, hold on. Anyone that's not. Not everyone's muted. So, all right, go ahead, Mom.
Okay, chapter 48. Listen to this, O house of Jacob, you who are called by the name of Yasrael and come from the line of Yehuda, you who take oaths in the name of Yahuwah and invoke Elohim of Yasrael, but not in truth or righteousness. You who call yourselves citizens of the set apart city and rely on the Elohim of Yasrael. Yahuwah Almighty is his name. I foretold the former things long ago. My mouth announced them and I made them known. Then suddenly I acted and they came to pass. For I knew how stubborn you were. The sinews of your neck, meaning tendons, were iron. Your forehead was bronze. Therefore I told you these things long ago. Before they happened, I announced them to you, so that you could not say, my idols did them. My wooden image and metal mighty one ordained them. You have heard these things. Look at them all. Will you not admit them? From now on, I will tell you of new things, of hidden things unknown to you. They are created now and not long ago. You have not heard of them before today. So you cannot say, yes, I knew of them. You have neither heard nor understood. From of old your ear has not been opened. Well, do I know how treacherous you are? You were called a rebel from birth. For my own name's sake, I delay my wrath. For the sake of my praise, I hold it back from you, so as not to cut you off. See, I have refined you, though not as silver. I have tested you in the furnace of affliction. For my own sake, for my own sake, I do this. How can I let myself be de-armed? I will not yield my splendor or esteem to another. Listen to me, O Yaakov, Yashrael, whom I have called. I am he. I am the first, and I am the last. My own hand laid the foundations of the earth, and my right hand spread out the heavens, whom I summon them. They all stand up together. Come together, all of you, and listen. Which of the idols has foretold these things? Yahuwah's chosen ally will carry out his purpose against Babylon. His arm will be against the Babylonians. Even I, have spoken. Yes, I have called him. I will bring him, and he will succeed in his mission. Come near me and listen to this. From the first announcement, I have not spoken in secret. At that time, it happens. I am there. And now the sovereign Yahuwah has sent me with his spirit. This is what Yahuwah says. Your Redeemer, the set-apart one of Yashrael, I am Yahuwah, your Elohim, who teaches you what is best for you, who directs you in the way you should go. If only you had paid attention to my commands, your peace would have been like a river, your righteousness like the waves of the sea. Your descendants would have been like the sand, your children like its numberless grains. Their name would never be cut off, nor destroyed from before me. Leave Babylon. Flee from the Babylonians. Announce this with shouts of joy and proclaim it. Send it out to the ends of the earth. Say, Yahuwah has redeemed his servant Yaakov. They did not thirst when he led them through the desert. He made water flow from them from the rock. He split the rock and water gushed out. There is no peace, says Yahuwah, for the wicked. Chapter 49.
Oh, no.
That's it?
That's it for 40. Yeah, it's just 45 to 48.
Okay, good.
I think-
Because this is a very long chapter coming up.
Yeah, because we actually did 49 last week
Oh.
somehow. I don't know. The way they're ordering these portions sometimes it's like
Mhm.
backwards sometimes. So let me see here. I think the next portion we're gonna have a different reader now. Just to give my mom a break here. Let's see here. Yeah, 52 to 55. So let's see, Brother Dennis, if you're able to, I'll just see if you'll see from your phone that I'm asking you to unmute. Brother Dennis, if you're able to, actually, hold on. We got, before we do that, I see there's like multiple hands raised here. Does anyone have a question or anything my mom just read before we move on, or are those old raised hands from before when you couldn't hear her? Just let me know, anyone, if there's a legitimate question you wanted to ask or something.
Sorry, I think that was my hand raised behind. I already fixed it.
Okay.
Just an
Thank you,
ongoing
sis.
theme of
Ah.
I am Yahuwah, there
Yeah.
is no other.
My
That keeps coming
esteem,
through.
I want to go through, actually, it's a good thing we're pausing here because I actually want to go through a couple of cross references here, because this is a big deal to show that he says not to give his esteem to another. He will not give his esteem to anyone else, right? Let's go to John 17 and see if the father and son are not the same person. We have a problem here. Because Yahusha is asking the father here to give him the esteem he had with him from the beginning. John 17, verse 1. After Yahusha said these things, let me just make sure, hold on a sec. Yeah, stupid audio. I hate how you got to turn on the audio every time on the phone. All right, so John 17:1 says, after Yahusha said these things, he lifted up his eyes to heaven and said, Father, the hour has come. Esteem your son, so that the son will esteem you. So we just read, what is it, chapter 45, Mom, that says, I give my esteem to no one else. Okay, so if Yahusha is someone else, then we got a problem here.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Just as you gave him authority over all flesh, Yahuwah says he gives his esteem to no one else. And then in John 17:2, it says he didn't just give esteem to Yahusha, he actually gave him authority over all flesh. That he would give eternal life to everyone whom you have given him. This is eternal life, that they know Yahuwah, the one true, the true one, and him whom you sent, Yahusha Messiah. I esteemed you on the earth. I have finished the work that you have given me to do. Now, Father, esteem me. He reiterates here. Esteem me along with yourself, with the esteem that I had with you before the world was made. And my mom just read who founded heaven and earth, the right hand of Yahuwah. Who created the heavens and the earth? The right hand. Okay? So this is important to understand here. This is showing the oneness here. And if you don't understand the oneness, you're going to start thinking that there's contradictions in the Bible, because you're going to start seeing Yahusha's asking the Father, give him the esteem that he had with him from the beginning, versus Isaiah 45 saying, I give my esteem to no one else. So if Yahusha is someone else, then we have a problem. So that's just something I want to show that in my opinion, I think it's very important to understand. So, anyway, let's see here. What other things I thought were important here? And my lovely, stupid smoke alarm won't stop beeping. All right, let me see here. I'm looking for my Targum of Isaiah here. There we go.
Interesting Babylon things going on.
So, before we move on here, I have to see here. I know there's
Or,
not a person, Mom.
No.
In prophecy, when it talks about a woman, it's never referring to a human being.
Right, okay.
So you have to understand prophetic language. When it's talking about a woman, it's always a kingdom or a body of believers, you could say, or a religious system, like in Revelations. So never does it literally refer to a literal woman.
Okay.
That because prophetic language is always, for the most part, allegorical when it calls something a woman or a virgin daughter. It's talking about the daughter of Babylon. So it's talking about Babylon had daughters. They had spiritual daughters. They had nations that were birthed from it.
Okay.
Technically, one of its daughters, the physical daughter of it, technically, according to Genesis 10, we can even go to is Assyria. Technically, because Nimrod found physical Shinar, aka Babylon. And then it says, out of that land, meaning out of Shinar, came Assyria. So.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, just to explain.
Israel's called the daughter too, daughter of
Yeah,
Jerusalem.
yeah.
Daughter, yeah. Okay.
See, Genesis 10:11. Out of that land, meaning out of Assyria, he went, oh, out of that land, he went to Assyria. I don't like that translation. It should say he built Assyria or found Assyria. Okay. Yeah. Out of that land came Ashur, Assyria, and Nineveh, and the city Rehoboth and Calais. So even Nineveh is a landmass of the original physical Babylon. So even the physical Babylon had many. The mother harlot, which if you go to Revelations, what is it, 17? And we're going to do a study eventually about who I believe this fourth beast kingdom is and who the harlot is. Okay, so you go to 17, Revelation 17, and then verse 1 to start off here. And one of the seven angels, hold on, let me actually go to verse, I would say verse 4 to start in Revelation 17. And the woman was wearing purple and scarlet, girded with gold and precious stones and pearls, and had a cup of gold in her hand, and it was full of abominations and the filth of her fornication. Now, I recommend if this is something foreign to you, you watch the study that I have the word itself goes back to the mother harlot. And actually, if you look at this description here in verse 4 of Revelation 17, it's very clear it's talking about the Vatican, and spiritually talking about the popes. They wear purple, they wear red, they have a golden cup in their hands. Abominations, all the idolatry, all the graven images that are in the Catholic Church. The filth of her whoring, the fact that the Catholic Church preaches ecumenicalism, that's spiritual whoring. Why? Because they're telling every religion that they worship the same deity. So they're mixing their faith with every other faith to promote ecumenicalism. So technically, that is a spiritual type of whoring technically. And upon her forehead was written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and of the filth of the earth. Now, what's interesting to note is the Catholic Church has daughters. All the Protestant churches go back to Catholicism. So even when you look at that today, that's the reality. Okay, so that's how she is a mother. And Mom, don't they call themselves the Mother Church? I could have swore they referred to themselves as a mother.
I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
I could have swore they said that. Oh, and here's a description too that describes the Vatican very well. And I saw the woman who was drunk with the blood of the set apart ones and the blood of the witnesses of Yahusha, and I was stunned with great astonishment when I saw her. What happened with the Inquisition? What happened with the Dark Ages of the Catholic Church? They were killing believers right and left. Okay, that's a historical fact. So all of this is pointing to the Vatican. All of this is pointing to Catholicism. And that's what I mean by the majority of the time when you see the word woman in prophecy, it's always a believing body, you can say. Some religious system, usually. Okay? So that's just one of the things you got to remember when reading prophecy. There's certain terms that are always allegorical. Beast doesn't literally mean a four-footed beast. Depending on the Greek word or Hebrew word being used, there's two Greek words, Bastilia, that's used in the New Testament, and Bastilius. The Ilius at the end is referring to a king. Ilia, which is also translated in the English as beast, is the kingdom. So, and what's interesting to note in verse 8 of this same chapter, the Greek word for a king, not kingdom, is being used here. So again, it's talking about a person. It's talking about a being that's known as the beast. That is talking about he will ascend from the abyss. Okay. So anyway, just thought I would explain that. Also, another reason I believe is the Catholic Church. Here's the meaning for one having wisdom. The 7 heads are the 7 mountains, 7 hills upon which the woman sits. It's a historical fact, and even today, it's still true today. The Vatican sits on 7 hills. Okay. And then it starts talking about the kings and all that. There are 7 kings, and that the beast, the anti-Messiah, is one of the 7, and all that. Okay, so moving back here, I just wanted to explain that. That was a good question, Mom, because that people do get confused with that when they see woman, waters in prophecy. What are waters? Waters are people. Okay, so that's the prophetic language is really important to understand prophecy. Let me see here. So I'm glad I went to the Targum here because right here I see an interesting theory. What does your verse 2 in chapter 45 say, Mom?
Okay, verse 2
Yeah, I want to
says,
see.
I will go before you and will level the mountains. I
Yeah,
will break down gates of bronze and cut through bars of iron. That's it.
okay,
No,
so
that's
the
ten.
Aramaic version of Isaiah says, "My word shall go before you. I will have a way in the
Oh.
plains. I will break the doors of brass and cut is under the bars of iron." So that's the Targum there saying, "My word shall go before you." And I like how the translator all capitalizes in English word. So it's making a distinction that it's not just utterances talking about there. It's talking about a person.
Change that to I.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they would change it to I because they don't want to show any oneness or even pre-existence of Messiah, to tell you the truth. So, let's see, Isaiah 45:12 in the Targum says, "It is I who have made the earth by my word." So the Targum of Isaiah straight up tells you who the right hand is. Yeah, so
Yeah.
here we go. Verse 17 of 45. Yasharal shall be saved by who? The word of Yahuwah with an internal salvation. So that shows that Messiah has always been predestined to be the Savior. Okay, so let's see here, because a lot of people, I'm seeing even people in our movement talking about the Father's the Savior, not the Son, and I'm like, actually, they're both. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, they're both the one Savior. So, because a lot of times in the New Testament, it will literally say, our Savior, Yahushua the Messiah. So, to claim that Yahushua's not the Savior, then you got to start throwing out the New Testament. So, I'm just saying.
Interesting, I thought this is like a precursor of the Brit Hadashah when Yahusha says it. Before me, every knee will bow.
Yep.
And every tongue
Yep.
will swear. You know, where have we heard that before?
Yep.
You know?
Yep. And let me see here. He created it not in vain. He formed it that the sons of man will multiply. I am Yahuwah. There's nothing, no one else. Okay, yada, yada, yada. Going to chapter 46 here. See if there's anything. Oh, actually, before we go to notes in 46, I have something in the last couple of verses of 45 here. 45 verse 25 in the Targum says, "In the word of Yahuwah, all the seed of Yasharal shall be declared righteous and esteemed." So it says, "In the word of Yahuwah." Okay. Verse 22 of the same chapter. "Turn unto my word, and you be saved, all you that are at the ends of the earth, for I am Yahuwah, and there's none else." And let's see here. "To whom will you liken me and equal me?" Chapter 46, verse 5. "And compare me in truth." Very bold statement there. Let's see here. Okay, let's see here.
chapter 46, verse 12. Hearken unto my word, and you stout-hearted that are far from righteousness. Wow, that's pretty strong. He's called his own people stout-hearted and far from righteousness. Wow. You talk about tough love there. And let's see here. Okay, this is interesting. Mom, 47 verse 1, is that the chapter that calls it daughter of Babylon?
Mhm.
Well, that's weird. The Targum more or less makes it masculine. This is kind of interesting.
It's called actually Virgin Daughter of Babylon. How mine works.
Yeah, the Targum has descend and sit in the dust, O kingdom. Oh wow, okay, I see what it does. It paraphrases it. It doesn't change the gender. Okay, I see what it does. Descend and sit in the dust, O kingdom of the congregation of Babylon. That's actually good though, what we just talked about. A woman represents a kingdom or religious system. So I would agree with that paraphrase there. Okay. Receive this calamity. Kingdom of your princes. Okay. Okay. Anything else before I go to 48? Think that's about it. Widowhood. Hear ye, house of Jacob, stock of Yehuda. He has made a covenant in the name of Yahuwah. Okay. Yeah, verse 1 of 48 has like a little expounding here. It says, hear ye this, O house of Jacob, who are called by the name of Yasharal, and are come forth from the stock of Yehuda, with whom he has made a covenant in the name of Yahuwah, the Elohim of Yasharal, that the remembrance of them shall not cease. Shall not his word stand in truth and righteousness? So again, Yahusha being referenced there. Let's see here. Verse 3 of that chapter says, I have declared from the former things from the beginning, and they have gone forth from my word. So notice how they're calling utterance or his speech not the same thing as the word of Yahuwah. So that's kind of interesting. It's actually saying his speech or utterance came forth from his word. So I find that interesting. That's verse 3 of chapter 48 of the Targum of Isaiah. Let's see here. Okay, chapter 48, verse 13. Yea, by my word I have laid the foundation of the earth, and by my strength I have suspended the heavens.
At least mine says my right hand.
Yeah,
Spread out
which-
the heavens. At least
which
they
is
threw us a bone there.
which is pretty cool, Mom, because these Judean scribes who wrote the Targums, what they're showing us is his right hand is him.
Mhm.
It's like not a
Mhm.
separate being.
Mhm.
It's actually showing that even in their understanding, which they have a veil over their eyes, that they didn't accept Yahusha. But the fact of the matter is, they understand who is this person called the Word of Yahuwah. They understand that's the same person as the right hand of Yahuwah. It's not like how we would humanize it. Oh, our right hand. No, that's verse 15. By my word, I have made a covenant with Abraham, your father. So it's actually saying here the covenant between Yahuwah and Abraham is actually between Yahusha and Abraham, which is interesting. I have called him, I have brought him into the land of the place of my splendor, and I prospered his way. So it's showing, it's really strong in the Targums that Jerusalem is the land where his esteem should be, like where his name is called. So very, very strong for that. Verse 16 of the same chapter, come ye near to my word. Hear ye this, I have not spoken in secret from the beginning. What does that sound like? Who else says in the New Testament, I never spoke in secret, I taught publicly in the synagogues? I wonder who says that. At the time when the nations separated themselves from fearing me, it seems like it's going back to the Tower of Babel incident here. in 48 verse 16 here. From fearing me, at that time I brought Abraham your father to my service. The prophet says, meaning Isaiah says, and now Yahuwah Elohim and his word has sent me. So I just find it interesting this expansion in verse 16 is actually referencing the division of the sons of Adam of Deuteronomy 32 verse 8. So, and I'll just show what I'm talking about here because this might be foreign to some people here. Let me. Oh, go ahead, Joshua. While I get that on a shared screen, go ahead, bro. I see your hand up.
Two comments. You just mentioned 48:16. Draw near to me and hear these words. I have not spoken in secret from the beginning. That's a really good verse to use against Gnostics or people that say that you have to come to a teacher to get the revelation. There's a lot of people use the term to you it has been, or the scriptures that say to you it has been given to know the mysteries of the kingdom of the heavens, but to them it has not. So I've heard people say that the scriptures are written in code, but clearly, very clearly, they're written not in secret. They're written in plain. It's just only those that have eyes to see can understand. Praise yeah. Also, 47:8-9. John is pulling from in Revelations. 47:8-9 says, "But now hear these words, you luxurious one that sits at ease, that is secure, that says in her heart, I am, and there is not another. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know bereavement. But now these two things shall come upon you suddenly in one day, the loss of children and widowhood shall come suddenly upon you, for your sorcery, for the strength of your enchantments, for your trusting in wickedness. For you said, I am, and there is not another." Then in Revelations 18:8, John is quoting from that. Give me a second.
Bring up. Yeah. So Isaiah 47:8-9 is a direct quote from John in the book of Revelations. And my eSword is telling me this 18 verse 7. So yeah, that's a direct quote. So, and what I think it is, the daughter of Babylon, allegorically, most likely is one of her, one of her daughters. Most likely, if it's the daughter of Mystery Babylon, then you could have multiple candidates that we talked about last night off the record. You got multiple candidates for that. You got Great Britain in modern times as a daughter of Mystery Babylon, the Vatican. You got what did we look up with the Edomite connection and the Byzantine Empire? I mean, there's at least a couple of nations. America is one of them. America is very much a daughter of Mystery Babylon. If you look at all the imagery in the DC, the Oval Office, everything, it either comes from Rome, Greece. They practically have graven images of Roman deities outside of the Capitol building. Very, very blasphemous because they'll quote scripture, talk about, I put all things under his feet, but yet the god they're referring to is Mars. Okay, the Roman god of war, and all that. So they're actually referring, they replace Yahuwah with Zeus there with the imagery, and Yahusha with Mars. So there's a lot of cases you could make for Isaiah 47, what nation specifically it's talking about as the virgin daughter of Babylon. And I would say you have a case for any one of them: Great Britain, America, and just I personally believe, in my opinion, I don't want to go too much on a tangent, but I did want to show you from Daniel here. I believe American and Great Britain at one time were one beast, in my opinion. And I just want to show, let's see here. Where is it? I'm trying to remember where it talks about the lion with the wings of an eagle. See here. Babylonia. In the vision of the night, I saw 4 winds. So starting at verse 2 to chapter 7. 4 beasts, each one different from the other, came up out of the sea. The first was like a lion, but had eagle's wings. As I was looking, its wings were torn off, and it was lifted from the ground and made to stand on 2 feet like a man. The mind of a man was given to it. So I believe this is referring to the union that Great Britain had with America back in the 1700s. Most of you that have studied history like I have know about the Revolutionary War, what happened with that, and what happened in 1776 supposedly got independence from Great Britain. I believe the only reason that happened, Yahuwah allowed that to happen, that narrative to happen, was to fulfill prophecy in a way, because then it fulfills the eagle's wings, America, the bald eagle, being taken away from the lion, Great Britain. So that's just my opinion. Other prophecy studiers would actually agree with my assessment of that. A lot of, and I'm not a 7-day Adventist. I'm not trying to promote 7-day Adventism, but I'm just saying a lot of them understand this concept of what history and how history proves Bible prophecy. So just thought I would put my 2 cents in there with Daniel 7:4. So anyway, but so we could continue on. I'm just trying to see, make sure I didn't miss anything. So okay, I think that's it really. The place of his splendor, we talked about verse 15, verse 16 of 48, and that's about it. So thank you, Brother Dennis, for being so patient. I'm gonna let you take the reins here and read Isaiah 52 to 55 if you're able to.
You say 52 to 55?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Can you hear me okay?
Perfect.
All right. 52. Awake, awake. Put on your strength, O Zion. Put on your garments of splendor, O Jerusalem, a set-apart city. For no more do the uncircumcised and the unclean come unto you. Shake yourself from the dust. Arise and sit down, O Jerusalem. Loose yourself from the bonds of your neck, O captive daughter of Zion. For thus says Yahuwah, you have been sold for nothing, and you are redeemed not with silver. For thus said the Master Yahuwah, at first my people went down into Mitzrayim to sojourn there, and Ashur oppressed them without cause. And now, what have I here, declares Yahuwah, that my people are taken away for nothing. Those who rule over them make them well, declares Yahuwah, and my name is despised all day continually. Therefore, my people shall know my name, and in that day, for I am the one who is speaking, see, it is I. How pleasant upon the mountains are the feet of him who brings Besorah, or Tov news, who proclaims peace, who brings Tov news, who proclaims deliverance, who says to Zion, your Elohim reigns. The voice of your watchmen, they shall lift up their voices. Together they shall shout for joy, because eye to eye they see the return of Yahuwah to Zion. Break forth into joy, sing together, you waste places of Jerusalem, for Yahuwah shall comfort his people. He shall redeem Jerusalem. Yahuwah shall lay bare his set-apart arm in the eyes of all the nations. And all the ends of Haaretz on the earth shall see the deliverance of our Elohim. Turn aside, come out from there, touch not the unclean. Come out of her midst, be clean, you who bear the vessels of Yahuwah. For you shall not come out in haste, nor go in flight. For Yahuwah is going before you, and the Elohim of Yisrael is your rear guard. See, my servant shall work wisely. He shall be exalted and lifted up and very high. As many were astonished by you, so the disfigurement beyond any man's and face formed beyond the sons of men. He shall likewise startle many nations. Sovereigns shut their mouths at him. For what had not been told, recounted to them, they shall see, and what they had not heard, they shall understand. 53. Who has delivered our report, and to whom was the arm of Yahuwah revealed? For he grew up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of dry land. He has no form or splendor that he should look upon him, nor appearance that we should desire him. Despised and rejected by men, a man of pains and knowing sickness, and as one from whom the face is hidden, being despised, and he did not consider him. Truly, he was borne our sickness and carried our pains. Yet we reckoned him stricken, smitten by Elohim, and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our crookedness. The chastisement for our peace was upon him, and by his stripes we are healed. We all, like sheep, went astray. Each one of us has turned to his own way. Yahuwah has laid on him the crookedness of us all. He was oppressed and he was afflicted, but he did not open his mouth. He was led as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before its shearers is silent, but he did not open his mouth. He was taken from prison and from judgment. And as for his generation, who considered that he shall be cut off from the land of the living, for the transgression of my people he was stricken, and he was appointed a grave with the wrong, and with the rich at his death, because he had done no violence, nor was deceit in his mouth. But Yahuwah was pleased to crush him. He laid sickness on him, that when he made himself an offering for guilt, he would see a seed. He would prolong his days, and the pleasure of Yahuwah prosper in his hand. He would see the result of the suffering of his life and be satisfied. Through his knowledge of righteous servant, a righteous servant makes many righteous, and he bears their crookedness. Therefore, I give him a portion among the great, and he divides the spoil with the strong, because he poured out his being unto death, and was counted with the transgressors, and he bore the sin of many, and made intercession for the transgressors. 54. Sing, O barren one, you who did not bear, break forth into singing, and cry aloud, and you who have not been in labor, for the children of the deserted one are more than the children of the married woman, says Yahuwah. Enlarge the place of your tent, and let them stretch out the curtains of your dwellings. Spare not. Lengthen your cords, and strengthen your stakes. For you shall break forth to the right and to the left, and your seed inherit the nations, and make the deserted cities inhabited. Do not fear, for you shall not be put to shame, nor hurt. You shall not be humiliated. For the shame of your youth you shall forget, and not remember the reproach of your widowhood any more. For your Maker is your husband. Yahuwah of hosts is his name, and the set apart one of Yisrael is your Redeemer. He is called the Elohim of all Haaretz, the earth. For Yahuwah has called you like a woman, forsaken and grieved in spirit, like a wife of youth when you were refused, declares your Elohim. For a little while I have forsaken you, but with great compassion I shall gather you. In an overflow of wrath I hid my face from you for a moment, but with everlasting kindness I shall have compassion on you, says Yahuwah, your Redeemer. For this is the waters of Noah to me, in that I have sworn that the waters of Noah would never again cover hot ribs. So have I sworn not to be wroth with you, nor to rebuke you. For though the mountains be removed and the hills be shaken, my kindness is not removed from you, nor is my covenant of peace shaken, said Joshua, who has compassion on you. O you afflicted one, tossed with storm, not comforted. See, I am setting your stones in antimony, and shall lay your foundations with sapphires, and shall make your battlements of rubies, your gates of crystal, and all your walls of precious stones, and all your children taught by Yahuwah, and the peace of your children great. In righteousness you shall be established, far from oppression, for you shall not fear, and far from ruin, for it does not come near you. See, they shall indeed assemble, but not because of me. Whoever shall assemble against you falls for your sake. See, I myself have created the blacksmith who blows the coals in the fire, who brings forth an instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue which rises against you in judgment you shall prove wrong. This is the inheritance of the servants of Yahuwah, and their righteousness from me, declares Yahuwah. 55. Oh, everyone who thirsts, come to the waters, and you who have no silver, come, buy and eat. Come, buy wine and milk without silver and without price. Why do you weigh out silver what is not bread, and your labor for what does not satisfy? Listen to me, and eat what is told, and let your being delight itself in fatness. Incline your ear, and come to me. Hear, so that your being lives. And let me make an everlasting covenant with you, the trustworthy kindness of David. See, I have given him as a witness to the people, a leader and a commander for the people. See, a nation you do not know, you shall call, and a nation who does not know you, run to you, because Yahuwah, your Elohim, and the set apart one of Yisrael, for he has adorned you. Seek Yahuwah while he is to be found. Call on him while he is near. Let the wrong forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts. Let him return to Yahuwah, who has compassion on him, and to our Elohim, for he pardons much. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares Yahuwah. For as the Shemaim are higher than Haaretz, the heavens higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. Whereas the rain comes down and the snow from the Shemaim, and do not return there, but water the earth, and make it bring forth and bud, and give seed to the sower, and bread to the eater. So is my word that goes forth from my mouth. Do what I please. No, it does not return to me empty, but shall do what I please, and shall certainly accomplish what I sent it for. For with joy you go out, and with peace you are brought in. The mountains and hills break forth into singing before you, and all the trees of the field clap their hands. Instead of the thorn of the cypress comes up, and instead of the nettle, the myrtle comes up, and it shall be to Yahuwah for a name, for an everlasting sign which is not cut off. In the 55.
Thank you, Brother Dennis. You did a great job. All right, so before I continue, I saw that Sister Marissa's hand has been up for a while, and I just want to give her time if she has a question or comment she wants to.
No, I think that was before, brother.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sis. All right. Just wanted to make sure. All right. Okay. So.
I don't know why
Wow,
it's doing that. Blowing it and it keeps going back up. That's weird.
it's weird. There must be a glitch with my phone, maybe my line. Brother Joshua, are you?
Yeah, that's a new hand.
Okay, cool.
52, 52:12. I'll start in verse 11. Depart, depart, go out from there and touch not the unclean thing. Go you out from the midst of her, separate yourselves, you that bear the vessels of Yahuwah. For you shall not go forth with haste, nor go by flight. For Yahuwah shall go first in advance of you, and the Alawah of Yesharal shall be the one that brings up your rear. I see a couple different things here. One in 11, because first he's saying depart, depart, but then he's saying you shall not go forth with haste. In 12, it seems to be at first he's talking about a spiritual departing from Babylon, or from the daughter of Babylon. Forget exactly in the context of which ones it's talking about, but it seems to be at first a spiritual coming out. I also see that when it says separate, go you out from the midst of her, separate yourselves. But then in 12 it goes on to say, for you shall not go forth with haste, neither go by flight. And you have a lot of brothers and sisters that are talking about you got to get a passport, or you got to go to here, you just got to leave. But he's definitely saying to that's not the case. We're to wait on him to bring us out. He's going to be the one that leads us out of this captivity.
Yeah, I think Brother Joshua has a connection problem. But yeah, I would agree that it's spiritual than physical, but also it's kind of a double prophecy, to piggyback off of what Joshua was talking about. We have to understand the historical context of this. Yahuwah's about, at this point in time, if I'm not mistaken, Mom, chronologically, right? This is the end of their servitude in Babylon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is the end of the Daniel captivity. Okay, so this would be around the timeline of Cyrus being used to bring them back physically to the land.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what we got to realize too is that it's not only talking about future, it's talking about at that time to physically come out of Babylon. And obviously Revelations, that practically, I think, pretty much quotes verbatim, word for word, is talking about a future one that's very similar. So, which I believe we are nowhere near the future fulfillment of Revelations 18. That is obviously, we could go there real quick to show you why I don't believe that we're anywhere near that context yet, to physically leave a physical Babylon, for multiple reasons. Just show you real quick in verse 1 here to 4. After these things, I saw another angel coming down out of heaven. He had great. Hold on. So I'm probably. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. Here, audio is on. Okay. So after these things, I saw another angel coming down out of heaven. He had great authority, and earth was esteemed by his splendor. He cried out with a mighty voice, saying, Fallen, fallen is Babylon the Great. She has become a dwelling place. So this is a.
We lost you, Doug.
So again, this is a physical land being called Babylon. Okay.
We didn't catch any of that, Doug. You cut out.
All right. I kind of have background noise going on too, but why is it doing that? The connection's fine from what I'm looking at, so I don't know what's going on here. Could be that freaking stupid smoke alarm could be blocking my sound, very possibly. All right, so I'm going to try to speak as loudly as I possibly can here. All right, so Revelations 18, the reason I was cross-referencing this because Brother Joshua brought this up about whether it's spiritual versus physical, and I agree with him, it's both, but looking at Revelations 18, compared to, what is it, Mom? Isaiah 52, that it's talking about the come out of her midst, okay? That verse is a direct quote from John, okay? But John is talking about a full end times fulfillment. There's no partial fulfillment around the time of John when this is being talked about. That's the difference between what John's talking about, what Isaiah is talking about. Part of it has already been fulfilled. Cyrus took them back into the land from Babylon. So we got to keep that in context too. That technically in Isaiah was partially fulfilled. And so even though it is a future context in Isaiah, it has been partially fulfilled before. So in Revelations, it seems fully future fulfillment. And going back again, Revelations 18:1 gives you the context that it's definitely talking about the day of Yahuwah. We look at this very carefully. It says, after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his esteem. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, fallen, and become a habitation of demons, a hold of every foul, of every unclean and hateful bird. Okay, so this is talking about a physical place called Babylon, a physical land called Babylon, that is a land where demons can dwell. Okay, so we can't spiritualize that. That's talking about a literal physical Babylon. I believe it's talking about Iraq, in my opinion. That's what modern day is. So, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her whoring, or even you could make the case that it's talking about the Vatican. If it's Mystery Babylon, then it's talking about the Vatican. Either way, it's not America. Either way. Okay. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her whoring, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. The merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, which to me, this is a literal physical voice. This is not a little whisper from the Father. This is a physical, literal voice from heaven telling his people, get out of this physical place. I don't know what the heck that is. I don't know. Did we get a little... I wouldn't be surprised if we're getting, yeah, we're getting a surge is what's happening. Yeah, that's what's going on. All right. Anyway, come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of sins, that you receive not of her plagues, for her sins have reached unto heaven. This hasn't happened yet. Okay. And Yahuwah has remembered her lawlessnesses. So Babylon's sins have not reached to the full yet at this moment in time. So this cannot be where we're at in prophecy. Okay. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and her cup which she has filled to her double. Well, what's the one day where Yahuwah is sending plagues? The day of Yahuwah, okay? Death, mourning, famine, she shall be utterly burned with fire. Okay, so this is talking about a physical destruction of an isolated land, okay? For strong is Yahuwah Elohim who judges her, and the kings of the earth who have committed whoring and lived deliciously with her shall weep and wail over her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. And then it goes on talking about the great city is destroyed and the merchants of the earth are weeping because of it. The merchandise of gold, silver, and precious stones, pearls, fine linen, yada, yada. Okay, so as you can see here, this is clearly a future event that we're nowhere near it being fulfilled yet. Okay. The day of Yahuwah contextually is the day of Messiah's return. We still have a lot of things to happen before this is going to happen. So just want to keep in context, because a lot of people have assumed that Revelations 18 is that the time is already now where we're supposed to be physically leaving Babylon. I just want to show contextually that's not the case. Okay? If we let scripture read for itself, this is a future event that we are at the minimum, I would say at the minimum, 5 to 7 years off from. Because you have to have the abomination of desolation happen first. Before that, the beast has to make a covenant, a 7-year covenant. Okay, all that has to happen. The 2 witnesses have to be revealed to the world, which hasn't happened yet, even before the beast comes. Okay, so we're ways off, guys, from this context here. Okay, so just wanted to kind of explain that a little bit. All right, so oh, go ahead, Joshua. I see your hands up. Go ahead.
I think I got cut out. But to piggyback on that, did I get cut out again? Or can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. I don't know. I'm gonna turn my video off. That might be the problem. So to piggyback on that, in verse 12, I was going through 52, 11, and 12. 12 says, "For you shall not go forth with haste, nor go by flight, for Yahuwah shall go first in advance of you." And there's a lot of brothers and sisters that are, pushing the whole, you've got to get we've got to get out of this land. We've got to get somewhere, or we've got to get, I've heard even people saying that we have to get our passports ready to return to the land. But he makes it very clear that there's going to be no guesswork. He's going to be the one that goes ahead of us. He's going to be the one that leads us out. So just to piggyback off of that we are quite a bit of ways away. If Yahuwah hasn't gone ahead of us, then we shouldn't even be worried about leaving yet.
Dog, my hand keeps getting raised on its own. I don't know why it's doing that. I have to keep going. Doug, are you there?
I think he just got kicked out.
Yeah,
We had
we're having like power issues here. We had a surge a couple of minutes ago. Go ahead.
Yeah, my hand keeps getting raised up by itself. I don't know why it's doing that. That's weird.
Yeah. Go ahead, brother Joshua. Go ahead. My bad.
No worries. I'll say it again. I said it, but okay. So 52, 12, to piggyback off of what you said, it says, "For you shall not go forth with haste, neither go by flight, for Yahuwah shall go first in advance of you." So we have like different people, brothers and sisters, like that, just big on, we've got to get prepared. We've got to get ready to leave. We've got to get ready to flee. We've got to get our passports. But he's saying you shall not go forth with haste, nor go by flight. It's not this, all of a sudden type deal. It's Yahuwah bringing us out. There's no guesswork. We're going to know because he's going to be the one that's doing it. That was all.
There's something wrong with his connection.
Yeah. Well, I was muted the whole time because I don't want any background noise from here cutting him out. So yeah, I agree with you 100%, brother Joshua. Yeah, the flight thing. Yeah, it's also showing, that verse is showing that Yahuwah is the one actually gathering us out of here. It's not us on our own fruition, having a gut feeling that we should leave. It's him doing it.
Mhm.
So that's the context too of what of the verse you just talked about. So, and there's many scriptures in the prophets. We don't have time to go through it, but it'd be good study someday to do the first fellowship I was ever part of. We did a whole study about the greater Exodus and timeline when that exactly happens, because there's a specific time during the end times that it happens, and it's definitely before Yahusha's return. So that's another thing too that's misunderstood. They think, Yahusha's return is the greater Exodus. No, the greater Exodus happens before that, for multiple reasons. Zechariah 14 is a good place to go to see that, because his people are already in the land with all these nations that Yahuwah brings against them. They're already in the land for that to happen before he even returns. And the day that he returns, he's actually defending his people, his true people who are in Messiah, from these other nations like Gog, Magog, Meshech, Tubal, and all that. If you read Ezekiel, I think, what is it, Mom, 37 or 38 in context?
Right.
It's saying that he's bringing those nations against his people, those Gentile nations against his people, to the land of his people. And his people would have to already be in the land for that to happen in context. So if we really look at like all the different parallel accounts of when his people are supposed to be brought back to the land by him, it's actually before his second coming, from what I've understood. So that's just a study I would like to do in the future, just to show, just as like a apologetic way to show why I believe what I believe about the sequential order of end times events. Yep, go ahead, Joshua. I see your hands up again.
Another thing, I'm not really quite sure what this is saying, but I saw a really weird difference in the in Isaiah 53 verse 10 in the Septuagint versus the Masoretic. I'm really not sure what it's saying in the Septuagint, but it says in the Septuagint, Yahuwah also is pleased to purge him. Like, let me get a different version. That's weird.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know the verse.
53:10 is.
Bretons words it really weird.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me see.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um,
It's much different than the Masoretic.
yeah, I think what it's referring to is he's pleased to use the suffering servant to purge the stroke that he has from his people. I think is the actual context, because it talks about in later verses of the chapter, it talks about, verse 10, Yahuwah is also pleased to purge him from his stroke if you can give an offering for sin. So this is like, I would say this is a conversation Yahuwah is having with Yahusha here. If you can give an offering for sin, your soul shall see a long-lived seed, which we know according to Paul in Galatians 3, we are the seed of Messiah. So I believe it's a conversation the father and son are actually having with one another in that verse. And it's talking about Yahuwah is pleased to purge from him his stroke, maybe possibly the wrath of his people, the wrath that he has against his people. So like we see this in the New Testament, kind of referencing this. Right, Mom talks about the son saved us from the father's wrath, right? And all that. So I think that's the only way that you could actually correctly understand the way the Septuagint words it, is understanding what the purge is referring to and his stroke is referring to is probably the wrath of the Father. So he's pleased to give up his only son to purge his stroke. I think it's just worded very weird, and I would agree with you. I don't know why it has him there, and I wonder if him's even in the Greek. Purging him though could just meaning that he's given his son as an offering for sin. Wow. Okay. The ABP is a lot different. And Yahuwah willed to cleanse him of the beating. If you should offer for a sin offering, the thing for your life, he shall see a long-lived seed. So
Yeah, I would say the only way to understand that verse is understanding. You would have to go to the New Testament to really parallel with what the apostles are referencing with that, and the purging his wrath from Yasharal. That's the only way I could understand that verse. Yeah, I agree with Joshua. It's a little hard to understand the way it's translated in the English of the Bretons.
I think the
Yeah.
Masoretic reads, he was pleased to crush him. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Hebraic Roots Bible 2012 reads, but Yahuwah pleased to crush him to make him sick, so that if he should put his soul as a guilt offering, he shall see his seed, he shall prolong his days. What's weird is the end of the verse I don't like so much in the Masoretic. He shall prolong his days rather than it's talking about the seed of Messiah. And the will of Yahuwah shall prosper in his hand. So it's very weird. It's like the Masoretes changed it at the end. I wonder what would be their reason to do that. Maybe getting rid of the idea that this suffering servant has a seed of his own. I don't know. That's a little weird. Or maybe trying to get rid of the connection that seed of the Messiah is the seed of the woman. I don't know. Very strange. Because I actually like the Septuagint version for the end of the verse. It talks about he will have a long-lived seed if he does so, if he can offer in himself for sin. If you can give an offering for sin, your soul shall see a long-lived seed. So yeah, I think just Brenton, for the first part of the verse, he just translated purge him from his stroke. That phrase is just really weirdly translated. I think that's the problem there. So yeah, very good thing to bring up though. Let's see here. I had some other notes wrote down. For 52, verse 10, the Targum reads, Yahuwah has revealed his set apart arm in the sight of all the Gentiles, or all the nations. What I find interesting is that couldn't have happened yet. All the Gentiles didn't see Yahushua when he first appeared, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So what is it referring to? I believe John, who wrote Revelations, might have an idea here. Let's see. Every eye shall see him. See if I can find that verse. Okay, so let me go to search. Oops. Okay, Revelation of Revelation. Okay, every eye. Oh, whoops. No, that's not how to spell I. That's Eve. I. Revelations 1:7. Behold, he comes with clouds, and every eye shall see him.
Yep.
Future tense. And they also which pierced him. Zechariah 12. And all the kingdoms of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so be it. Okay, so that I believe John is pulling from Isaiah 52:10, where it talks about the right hand of Yahuwah will be revealed in the sight, meaning in the eyes of all the Gentiles. I found it interesting too. In chapter 52, verse 13, for my servant, the Targum doesn't just say my servant, it says my servant, the Messiah. So this suffering servant is being identified, according to the Aramaic version of Isaiah, as the Messiah. So it's not just it's not collectively Israel, it's not a regular human being. It's a divine Messiah is being identified as the suffering servant in verse 13. Okay, so I found that pretty interesting. Let me see. And I had a couple of other notes from before I didn't get to bring up from chapter 47. There was like 2 or 3 verses that I thought were interesting. I thought it was interesting the way this woman, this virgin daughter that seems to be under
some type of demonic spirit. I would say the spirit of Babylon, in my opinion. This virgin daughter of Babylon is spiritually under the Jezebel spirit, or you could say the spirit of Ishtar, Isis, because she said in her heart, and it reminds me of what Satan says in Isaiah 14. Isaiah 47:10 in the Septuagint says, "For your trusting in wickedness, you have said, I am, and there is not another. Know you the understanding of these things, and your harlotry shall be your shame. For you said in your heart, I am, and there's not another." Now, what does that sound like? Who wants to be like Yahuwah? Who wants to be the I am? You could even say the spirit of Satan is behind this kingdom. We can go to Isaiah 14 here, where what's known in Christianity as the 5 I wills of Satan. Okay, verse 13 here, or we could even start at verse 12. How has Halal, Lucifer is a substitution. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. Why Lucifer's in your Bible should actually say Halal. How has Halal that rose in the morning fallen from heaven? He that sent orders to all the nations is crushed to the earth. But you said in your heart, I will go up to heaven. I will set my throne above the stars of heaven, i.e. the angels. I will sit on a lofty mountain, on the lofty mountains towards the north, North Pole. Okay, Santa Claus. I will go up above the clouds. I will be like the Most High. But now you shall go down to Sheol, or hell, even to the foundations of the earth. They that see you shall wonder at you and say, this is the man that troubled the earth and made kings to shake. Interesting, because Satan's also called a man in Ezekiel 28, so it seems like part of his judgment for falling and for wanting to be like Yahuwah and wanting to dethrone Yahuwah, he becomes like a man, a mortal. He loosened not those who were in captivity. All the kings of the nations lie in honor, meaning they're given a burial, every man in his house. But you shall be cast forth on the mountains as a loathed carcass, with many dead who have been pierced with swords going down to the grave. As a garment defiled with blood shall not be pure, so neither shall you be pure, because you have destroyed my land and have slain my people. You shall not endure forever, you an evil seed. So obviously Isaiah 14 is talking about Satan. I just thought it's interesting in Isaiah 47:10, this virgin daughter of Babylon, the same phrase is being used where she wants to be, she's claiming to be the I am, she said it in her heart. The same type of pride that was in Satan is in her. So I find that interesting. Now going back to 47, there was an interesting cross reference here that, especially for those of our brothers and sisters who are deceived by this Mazaroth deception, I thought it would be important to bring this up here in Isaiah 47:10 from the Septuagint. It says, "For your trusting in wickedness." Oh, hold on. No, hold on. My bad. Where does it talk about let your astrologers deliver you and all of that? My bad. I don't know why I have that cited twice.
That's in the chapter that talks about the daughter of Babylon.
No, I think I have the wrong verse cited, is what happened. Sometimes I'm in a rush when writing down notes, and sometimes I mess up here. Let your astrologers
About
13, you said, Mom?
Yep, that's what I'm reading.
Okay.
Stargazers.
Yeah.
Make predictions.
Yep, here we go. So it's Isaiah 47:13. You are wearied in your counsels. Let now the astrologers of heaven stand and deliver you. Let them that see the stars or gaze at the stars tell you what is about to come upon you. So
Yahuwah is saying here this is not something we should be doing.
Yeah.
Using
Yeah.
constellations in the sky to try to figure out end times prophecy. And I see this whole Maseroth deception that people are getting into. They're using New Age terminology and blending the anti-Messiah with the true Messiah. Like I'll give you an example: the New Agers, their millennium, their satanic millennium is known as Aquarius. Okay, they believe we're entering the so-called age of Aquarius. Okay, and I see well-meaning brothers and sisters, being deceived by false prophets out there, like Paul Sides, okay, and they don't even realize that they're being deceived, and they're accepting astrology, or Jewish version of astrology, you could say, the Kabbalah version of astrology, or the Hebrew astrology as they call the Maseroth. Okay, so it's no better for us to try to rename the zodiac and trying to use it for Yahuwah. That's no better than what Christians do with Christmas. I hate to say it. We would be hypocrites to use the Maseroth for prophecy and then rebuke a Christian for keeping Christmas.
That's right.
I'm just saying. So just something to think about, guys. Just something to think about.
Can't take what's profane
No.
and rework
Yeah.
it.
And we just talked about that. We just read it today. Deuteronomy 12.
Yeah,
Do not worship Yahuwah,
that's right.
or we so ago.
Yeah.
Do not
the way the
worship.
nation- Yeah.
Do not worship Yahuwah your Elohim the way the nations worship their mighty ones.
Mhm.
So Yahuwah makes it very obvious you can't do that. Oh, my bad. Why is my share audio messing up? It keeps doing that.
Do you want my phone?
No, Mom, it has nothing to do with the phone. It's our connection. I keep saying this is our connection. We lost Wi-Fi like twice in the past hour. It's our connection, because I think we had a storm like 30 minutes ago.
Probably
So
did.
so if you guys didn't hear me, I was talking about how Isaiah 47:13 says Yahuwah is warning against astrology. He's warning against the Maseroth. He's warning against using such things to predict the future. He's not just talking about the worship of the constellations. He's talking about seeking after them. Okay, so that's the point I'm trying to bring home there. He doesn't even want us seeking after the constellations and seeking after the order of them in the sky and trying to study the order of the constellations. That in itself is evil. Okay, so all right, anyway, let's see, verse 15. I found it interesting. It says, these shall be your help. You have worried yourself with traffic from your youth. Every man has wandered to his own home, but you shall have no salvation. What I found interesting is you've wearied yourself, like, wearied down with sin, wearied yourself with traffic from your youth. And I find it interesting that today, a lot of these evil people in high positions, what do? Human trafficking.
Yeah.
I find it interesting
Right.
that this verse talks about traffic.
Yeah, that word. I was surprised to see that word.
So, and that's only in the Septuagint. I don't think it's in the Masoretic.
It was in my Bible.
Yeah, merchants.
I saw the word trafficking. I read it.
Yeah, so I wonder if that's referring to something like that. I mean, there's nothing new under the sun. I wouldn't be
No.
surprised.
Nope.
If there was stuff like that going on, child prostitution or
I'm
whatever.
sure there was.
So just found that interesting. That seems reign more true today than even back in Isaiah's day in a way.
I think the difference is now there's a lot more drugs involved in it. That may not have been the case
Yeah,
back then, but
Yeah.
in today's day and age,
yeah,
it's laced with a lot of drugs.
yep, yep. So moving on here, I have a couple more cross references before we go to our Chronicles portion. Isaiah 52:4. In the Masoretic and the Targum, it reads as, and I believe this is talking about their first servitude in Egypt. I don't believe it's talking about in Isaiah's day, and I'll explain why after. It says, for thus says Yahuwah, Isaiah 52:4. For thus says Yahuwah, my people went down aforetime or long ago into Egypt to sojourn there, and the Assyrian oppressed them without cause. Now, in my end time studies, I found out that the Assyrian or Ashur, it seems to be a prophetic name for the beast, the anti-Messiah. So I believe it's supposed to be prophetic in some way, shape, or form of a tyrant. And so if you look at different versions of this verse, almost every one of them say long ago they went into Egypt. Obviously, if Isaiah is writing something like that, saying long ago they went into Egypt, it can't be during Isaiah's time. So that rules out, you know, the time period where Ezekiel's writing about Judah willfully going back to Egypt. You can't really use that for this verse. This verse is talking about a long time ago they went into Egypt. Okay, and the Assyrian oppressed them without cause. We've done a study before called "Who is the Assyrian?" A non-Egyptian pharaoh ? And basically the premise is that the pharaoh of the Exodus possibly could have not been an Egyptian pharaoh. Possibly could have even been of another ethnos. And so I would encourage you to look into that study we did if this piques your interest. But I actually believe Isaiah 52:4 here is going back to the Exodus of Moses when it says, "My people long ago went down into Egypt." Okay, it's not talking about during the time of Isaiah or Ezekiel. I really doubt that. So I just find that interesting. Let's see here, Isaiah 52:7. In the Targum, it reads as, "The kingdom of your Elohim is revealed." Instead of saying your Elohim reigns in a present tense, the Targum of Isaiah is saying Yahuwah and Yahusha's kingdom at that time with Isaiah is being revealed, which kind of agrees with the New Testament. Because, Mom, isn't there in Revelations where it talks about around the time Yahusha came to earth, in Revelations 12, it talks about, now has your kingdom come, or there's like it's let's see here we go, Revelations 12:10. And I heard a loud voice from heaven saying, "Now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our Elohim and the power of his Messiah, for the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our Elohim day and night." So I find it interesting, Revelations 12:10 could be linked back to the Targum of Isaiah 52:7, where it says the kingdom of your Elohim is revealed. Because obviously we know we're not in the kingdom yet. So people have misunderstood that verse from Isaiah 52:7, say the kingdom already came when Yahusha first appeared. No, that's not true. It did not come when he first appeared. He revealed it. It was revealed what the kingdom of Yahuwah is, and he gave a taste of the kingdom of Yahuwah to his apostles and his disciples, but it didn't really come. It wasn't fulfilled yet, if that makes any sense. Okay, so I find it interesting. The Targum says the kingdom of your Elohim is revealed in Isaiah 52:7. And that's about it. So I think we can move on now, because I don't think I have any other notes or anything that really stood out after me. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Actually, one thing from chapter 54. I noticed a really weird difference in what's the verse, Mom? It talks about, the famous quote that a lot of people love quoting, "No weapon against you." Yeah, verse 17 of 54. I noticed that in the Septuagint it's a little different. It's more obedience centered in a way. It actually says, "You shall be righteous before me," meaning, our righteousness is from him, but we have a part in it. We are. So it says, "I will not suffer," meaning Yahuwah, because of Yahuwah, "I will not suffer any weapon formed against you to prosper, and every voice that shall rise up against you for right ruling or judgment, you shall vanquish them all. And your adversaries shall be condemned thereby. There is an inheritance to them that serve Yahuwah, and you shall be righteous before me," says Yahuwah. So it's almost like a two-way street. It's like, I'll protect you. I'll do this for you as long as you're obeying me, as long as you're walking my ways.
If that makes any sense. So the Septuagint shows like a two-way street rather than Masoretic. It seems like it's all Yahuwah and we have no part in it. You know, you know, so the obedience to his law is kind of emphasized in the Septuagint version. So I find that interesting. Usually that doesn't happen. Usually the Masoretic is sometimes more Torah centered, but I guess something happened there. Let me just see here how the Targum reads it. I'm just curious. Every tongue that shall rise against you in judgment, you shall condemn. Yeah, it reads almost the same as the Masoretic. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. That's the main thing I took away from that. Wow. Whoa. Okay. Hold on. No, I got to talk about this. Because this goes to Matthew 24:37 here from the Targum, of chapter 54, verse 9. This shall be before me as the days of Noah, when I swore by my word that the waters of the deluge which were in the days of Noah shall no more pass over the earth. Thus I swear by my word that my anger shall not be hurled upon you, neither will I reprove you. Now that's kind of interesting because I don't think it says that in any other version. No, it doesn't mention as the days of Noah. Now that's interesting to me because this is a phrase that Yahusha used in Matthew 24:37. So I find it interesting the Targum version of Isaiah has this same phrase as Matthew 24, but yet no other version has it. So that's kind of interesting to me. I don't know what to make of that, but that's a little interesting, that paraphrase there. So Isaiah 54:9 of the Aramaic Targum has the phrase as the days of Noah. Interesting. But anyway, I think we're gonna move on here. Let me see here. So we're gonna take a quick little break, guys, and we'll pick a new reader. And I believe next we have, it should be First Chronicles, what, 24 to 29, I believe. I know it's something along the lines of that. All right, First Chronicles 24 to 20. Yeah, First Chronicles 24 to 29. All right. We'll see you guys in a little bit. Stay tuned. Shalom.